Now on Denver 7 News, enough is enough. County clerks say the big lie believers are still threatening Colorado's elections and their personal safety.
Add glass, add more security protocols, work with our local PD or our sheriff's departments and even with the FBI. Because of just the level of intensity that we have faced.
Now they're either demanding proof or demanding they stop once and for all.
This is a senseless and unacceptable tragedy.
Plus, police desperately searching for a suspect after multiple people are killed in a mass shooting in Sacramento.
We can't say goodbye. It's like I lost my dad all over again.
And the pandemic may be fading, but its impact on local businesses isn't. And now a beloved family restaurant is paying the price.
Good evening and welcome to Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Bayan Wang.
And I'm Jacqueline Allen. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a strong message from Colorado's county clerks. They say put up or shut up.
Well, they're fighting back against what some call the big lie, the conspiracy theory of widespread voter fraud in the 2020 election.
These county clerks tell Denver 7's Christian Lopez the danger it's causing is real.
Ahead of scheduled rallies from election deniers here at the state capitol this upcoming week, a group of bipartisan county clerks from all across the state came together today asking for them to bring them proof of election fraud or stop making these claims.
I want to counter just a few of the false claims about elections that we're hearing here in Colorado. First, it is false to claim that thousands of dead people voted. All voting systems are properly certified.
During a press conference Sunday morning, a bipartisan group of Colorado County Clerk officials said they've endured 2 years of false claims from conspiracy theorists and election deniers. They're calling for the individuals behind these allegations to provide evidence to law enforcement.
The biggest message is, again, we are putting in this demand that they are acting in good faith, that they do come and bring us not just the reports, but everything, all of the data that they analyze, all of the affidavits that they have, anything and everything. Bring it to us and we will make sure and give it its fair due in an investigation.
Among the speakers, Weld County Clerk Carly Coppis, a Republican, and Denver County Clerk Paul Lopez, a Democrat. They say these claims have subjected them to increasing hostility and even threats. For example, Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold is asking the state for $120,000 to hire private security.
There's been some of us that have had to enhance our security in our elections offices, add glass, add more security protocols. Some of us have had to work with our local PD or our sheriff's departments and even with the FBI. Because of just the level of intensity that we have faced.
They've also had to spend thousands of hours answering questions about these claims from the public, which costs time and tax dollars. Still, they're dedicated to making sure the public has the right information.
If they have any question whatsoever about the security or transparent, if your ballot is counted, it is, hit us up. Hit the clerk and recorder's office up. Those are the trusted sources. We are going to defend our state. We're going to defend our democracy and everything that we've ever fought for it. And something like this isn't going to erode it. Our elections are safe, they're transparent, they're secure.
Reporting in Denver, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
All right, to provide some context, we should mention these county clerks are fighting against some of their own when it comes to election misinformation.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters. She's currently facing charges related to tampering with election equipment and the leak of sensitive election information. Peters also announced her candidacy to run for Secretary of State. Colorado's GOP leadership have called on her to end her campaign. Now, Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold is also investigating the Elbert County Clerk Dallas Schroeder after voting system hard drives were copied and distributed. An investigation was also launched into Douglas County Clerk Merlin Klotz for a possible security breach, but he was ultimately cleared.
In Sacramento, California, 6 people are dead and 12 others are injured in a mass shooting. Police do not have any suspects in custody yet, and now they're asking the public to help identify them. ABC's Deirdre Bolton has the latest.
6 people were killed and at least 12 others injured, according to police, when gunfire erupted early Sunday morning in downtown Sacramento, just blocks away from the state capitol building.
This morning, our city has a broken heart. This is a senseless and unacceptable tragedy, and I emphasize the word Unacceptable.
The shooting happened just after 2 a.m. local time. The police chief calling it a complex and complicated scene, spread out over at least 2 city blocks.
One of the victims has a GSW to the right leg.
3 walking gunshot wound victims.
I copy that. Do we need more units over there?
Sacramento police are handling the investigation with assistance from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Investigators are also reaching out to the public, asking anyone with any relevant photos and videos or other evidence linked to the violence to submit them to police.
We are asking for the public's help in helping us to identify the suspects in this and provide any information that you can to help us solve this.
An information center has been set up for families of the victims.
I'm just to the point right now, I don't know what to do. I don't even think this is real. I feel like it's a dream.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom releasing a statement saying the scourge of gun violence continues to be a crisis in our country and we must resolve to bring an end to this carnage. Deirdre Bolton, ABC News, New York.
In Ukraine tonight, the country's military says it now has 2 major territories back under its control. Military officials say they have retaken the entire capital region of Kyiv. Also back under control is the Chernobyl nuclear plant. And this comes as Russian troops slowly retreat from the country. But Ukraine's President Zelensky says that as the Russian forces leave, they are planting mines in homes, streets, and even under bodies.
That's just unbelievable.
It
Meantime, the Biden administration will end Trump-era pandemic restrictions that effectively blocked migrants from entering the United States. The CDC says it will lift the restriction known as Title 42 on May 23rd. That means a return to traditional immigration protocols that have been in place for decades. The policy received renewed criticism in previous weeks after many Ukrainian war refugees were turned away from the border.
A beloved Mexican restaurant in Fort Collins is now permanently closed. A notice on the door of Padre Pancho's says it's because of COVID financial strain and unforeseen circumstances.
But the family the restaurant belonged to for more than 50 years says they weren't given a heads up and neither were their employees.
Denver 7's Patrick Perez explains what they're going to do next.
The employees say they were leaving for the night Thursday when they noticed someone was changing the locks. That's when they realized the restaurant had been permanently closed and they had lost their jobs. A Fort Collins staple of more than 5 decades now closed for good.
There's not a memory from my childhood that I don't have, that I haven't been here.
Monica Burr says Pobre Pancho's has been in her family her entire life.
I worked here from 12 on as a teenager and as an adult.
During the pandemic, as the restaurant struggled and her late father's health declined, a longtime patron took over most of the ownership.
They knew our family and they knew my dad was really sick, and they came and said, hey, you know, I'd like to help and do what we can.
That new investor helped keep the restaurant afloat, but Monica admits it still struggled to rebound.
I understand COVID hit everyone hard. It hit all the business. So many, just even around us, the landscape has changed because of COVID.
And it appears the new owners could no longer take on the financial burden. It permanently closed Thursday. A sign on the front door explains why. COVID financial strain and unforeseen circumstances.
I wish it would have been handled better so they would have been able to prepare and we could have said goodbye, had a last meal as a family here and said goodbye to some of our patrons instead of a note.
Monica says the employees were not given a heads up and neither were the customers. The locks have since been changed.
We can't say goodbye. It's like I lost my dad all over again.
With no control over what happens next.
It's very strange that I can't go in.
Her mission now is to help the employees who lost their jobs bounce back, just as her father would have. The family says they know they cannot get this restaurant back, so Monica wants to do whatever she can to get these employees who have now lost their jobs back on their feet. She has started a GoFundMe, and we have a link to that on thedenverchannel.com. In Fort Collins, I'm Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
We've reached out to the new owner for comment. We've yet to hear back, but according to the Coloradan, they plan to sell the building to the fast food chain Raising Cane's.
All right, still to come, a new report shows many children experienced severe mental health issues during the pandemic. And now a Colorado nonprofit is hoping to help through the power of play.
Plus, looking for work in Denver, we'll tell you about a new project with plenty of openings that is helping Coloradans with brain injuries.
I'm meteorologist Stacey Donaldson. Thanks to a cold front, we were a little cooler today. Highs only in the 50s here for the Front Range and northeastern Colorado. That's about to change as we head into tomorrow. I'll let you know how warm it's going to get coming up.